the window. Good.
Stepping through the raindrops and the finish on the right hand.
And everything's going the Boomers' way. With back-to-back threes, the Boomers a WNBL chance.
A momentous occasion for the Sydney Flames tonight as they mark a new era with a new home at the Quaycentre in Sydney Olympic Park. It's back to the future in a way for the competition, with the last WNBL match played at this venue some 12 years ago when it was known as the State Sports Centre. The rebuilding Flames, with one win to their name this Cygnett WNBL season, pushed the undefeated Bendigo to within 10 points on Wednesday night and will christen their new home court against the defending champions Melbourne, currently on a 4-game winning streak and fresh off a 9-day break. Jess Webster with you alongside renowned women's basketball coach Laurie Chiswick. A big welcome to you, Laurie, on what is going to be a special night for the home side.
Well, exactly. Sydney, they would be so happy to be in their new venue. They have played 6 of their 7 games away, so they would be super excited to be trying out this new court in front of their fans. And as you mentioned, they were brave in defeat against Bendigo, but it was only 2 days ago. So it'll be interesting with Melbourne having the 9-day break. They beat Townsville on their home court by 6 points. If fatigue will at all play a factor in, say, the fourth quarter of this game.
Could maybe go one of two ways. I mean, they might be riding higher momentum, nearly knocking off the top side, or as you said, they might run out of legs late in this game. Let's take a look at the ladder as it stands and what this contest means for these two sides. Bendigo undefeated on top of the ladder. Of course, Sydney got within 2 points with 4 minutes to play on Wednesday night. Couldn't get the job done. Melbourne sitting in second place, just one blemish on their season so far with the 5 wins. And down the bottom of the ladder, Sydney in 7th place with 1 win to their name. But Laurie, do we think particularly maybe the last couple of weeks Sydney are playing a little bit better than maybe their ladder position suggests?
Absolutely they are, and they'd be going in with a lot of confidence. If you look strictly on the paper, you'd go, yes, Melbourne have got probably a better lineup, a stronger lineup, more depth. If you look at the ladder, you would say the same thing. But listening to Tiff Mitchell on, she did a podcast during the week, she said, and I believe it, you can't take any team lightly. Any team can come out and win on any night. So they'll certainly be aware of that with Sydney. And it's straight into their starting lineup. You can see that there's been a change there. And Tiana Mangakahia has been elevated into the starting lineup in place of Kiera Rowe. She had a great game, 10 points, but was really strong on the defensive end. But Willoughby, she was great in that game.
And as we take a look at the Melbourne lineup, steady so far this season, and no doubt they're just, playing with such confidence, and they're getting momentum going and really on the hunt for back-to-back titles.
Absolutely, and that last game, Nelson Ododa had her breakout game, 17 points at 77%, thank you very much. And of course, Tiff Mitchell leading the league in scoring right now. She shot 5 of 6 from threes last game, so she is really, as you mentioned, this is a settled lineup, settled starting lineup, and they will want to continue in the same vein in this game.
Yeah, perhaps an MVP contender there, and Tiff Mitchell has only missed 6 3-pointers this season. She's one of the best 3-point shooters in the competition. Looking forward to seeing how she goes tonight. Down courtside for us this evening is Renee Garlop. A big welcome to you, Renee.
Hi Jess, hi Laurie, and like you guys said, the Flames here for their first home game in the Quaycentre, and let me just say the vibe in here is fantastic. It's great to see them on their home court. They'll be looking to build on the momentum they created in the last 2 games, but Melbourne, as you guys said, are sitting up nice and high on the ladder, so I'm pretty sure we're in for a cracker of a game.
Thank you, Renee. Looking forward to your contributions tonight, and hopefully we do get a fantastic atmosphere here at the Quaycentre, Sydney's first ever match at their new home venue. Laurie, let's break it down. If you were going to make a case for Sydney tonight, how do they get an upset win?
Well, I looked at both teams, and for Sydney, one thing really stood out against Bendigo. They have got to be better at blocking out. They gave Bendigo 19 offensive rebounds, which converted to 17 points. We know the Melbourne Boomers are a big lineup, much bigger, especially with Mangakahia coming into that lineup. So they have to block out. And for Melbourne, Well, the last game they played, even though they beat Townsville by 6 points, they had 29 turnovers. Oh my goodness, Chris Lucas would not be happy with that. So that is an area where I'm sure that they'll want to improve on tonight against Sydney.
Your referees for tonight, James Boyer, Byron Geddes and Michael Beavers. Tip-off only a couple of moments away. And we touched on it earlier with, they came so close, Sydney, to knocking off Bendigo. Do we think that playing 2 days later is a positive or a negative?
Well, I think, like you mentioned, you ride that momentum. They'd be feeling confident knowing that, Bendigo are undefeated so far. Having said that, though, Melbourne have the size, they have the depth, and if I were them, I would be running. I would be pushing the ball at every occasion. It might not show in the first quarter, the first half even, but you would think, because big minutes were played by all the starters in that Bendigo game.
So we're underway, and it's Melbourne with the first opportunity. Go inside to George. And misses on that occasion, falling with the rebound.
I think that'll be a strategy for Melbourne, is run, first of all, and secondly, get it inside. Use their height advantage.
So here's Froling at the top of the key, looking for an option. Gives it to Heel, makes the charge. To Shervin. Now Munga Kahia goes herself. Good defense from George, but Sydney get it back. Here's Willoughby. And they turned it over. So Melbourne back the other way. And no foul called there on Wallace, or is it?
Yes, foul. We'll see Wallace at the free-throw line. Good push by Melbourne, and that's what we were talking about early on. As soon as they get a rebound, they are going to push the ball, explore it. And I liked how Christy Wallace, defense was back but not set, so she really punched it in there. Now she finds herself at the foul line.
83% free throw shooter this season, 10 out of 12. She gets the first one. Competitive with a capital C. It's Christy Wallace. So important to this Boomers side.
Great pickup by them in the off-season.
Of course, made the switch from south side. Shervin to Willoughby. Can she manufacture? Makes a charge. Can't get it to drop in.
Nelson Adota there, while she didn't block the shot, she had her long arms up, so she changed her shot. So all of a sudden, Willoughby felt under pressure and wasn't able to convert.
Nelson Adota, what a breakout game she had not too long ago. Such a great talent. Here she is. Gives it to Mitchell. That one's offline. Froling with the rebound. Flames back the other way. Willoughby. Pops it up, but has turned it over. George, long ball over the top, Nelson Odota. And Mitchell.
Well, they're certainly looking at pushing the ball. They just haven't capitalized on it at all. That's something that the Flames are going to have to be really aware of. Defensive transition, matching up early.
So foul is called.
I must say, one thing I was really impressed about when I watched the Sydney Bendigo game was Sydney's defense. They were really good with that, and they allow teams, whilst they allow teams 80 points a game, I think they're getting better at that in their team defense.
Certainly going to be key for them tonight against one of the best offensive teams in the competition. Of course, Melbourne leading the competition in average points. Heel drives. Get that one to drop in. Get a second opportunity. Froling from long range, yes. That'll lift the home crowd.
Great job by Froling not to. She got that rebound or kicked it out to her, and she was wide open at that three-point line. She can shoot that shot.
Wallace to Mitchell, inboard to George. One bounces out. But the Boomers will get it back.
Kayla probably had a little bit more time than she thought she had when she shot that ball. She looked a little bit rushed with it, when in fact she had a lot of time.
Averaging 16 points a game, George. Gives it to Nelson Adota, then to Wallace. And now to Murray.
Oh, hasn't Mia Murray been great for the Melbourne Boomers. She is such a steadying influence on the court. To me, she's having one of her best seasons in recent years.
Willoughby to Shervin.
Wow, great wheel and deal by Shyla Hill. Just changing direction, a little crossover, little shimmy straight into the basket.
She's coming off some impressive performances as well. And we're looking to get another big game out of her. So a good start here for the Flames. They're keeping a touch early. Nice inboard pass to Shervin, and she capitalizes and picks up a foul as well.
Great cut by Shervin, and even better pass by Frawling. She recognized that Shervin's defense had her head turned, couldn't see the ball, and so it was just a nice pass in there, picture perfect, and she was able to finish and finds herself at the line.
It's only 55% free throw for Hannah Shervin this season, but makes no mistake on this occasion. So Flames with a 3-point lead here midway through the first quarter. Wallace gets it from George. It's George again. Wallace for three. Can't get it to drop. Heel runs it down the court. Passes inboard to Frawling. Wheels around, that's an excellent shot.
It is, because Kayla George played some pretty good defense there, and it's great the way Keely Frawling just found a way to score.
Oh, and that's another three, the instant response. Brilliant from Murray.
That's her favorite spot in the corner, and she doesn't let her teammates down.
It's important for the Flames to make sure they don't let the Boomers get a run on and get any kind of momentum in this game. They need to apply the pressure for the full 4 quarters.
Absolutely they do, and they need to make Melbourne feel uncomfortable. As soon as Melbourne or any team get into some sort of rhythm, get into a comfortable feel offensively, that's when you're in trouble.
Hill with a solo effort. Get it to drop in. Murray with the rebound. Off to Wallace. Gets it back at the top of the key.
You can see Penina Davidson's on the court now.
Here she is, gives it to Mitchell. Passes inboard to George. Now finds her chance, makes the most of it.
That is so hard to defend, that little turnaround shot by Kayla George. She's got the reach, she's got the height. Great finish.
Hill wants it, gets it. Flares it across to Willoughby, who adds another 2. Great finish.
She's explosive off that first step of hers. What a,
Almost a fast play from the Boomers down the other end, but the Flames get it back. They want to move it quickly, back to Willoughby. This game is lifting in intensity as Willoughby wants more points. Can't find the basket on that occasion. Wallace, Mitchell, the backwards pass to Davidson.
Oh, I think Mitchell could have actually gone up herself, gone up strongly herself. She just did a little pocket pass into Davidson, who probably wasn't quite expecting it and wasn't able to finish. But what pace both teams are playing at. They are really testing the first 8 seconds of that shot clock and pushing, making the defense have to match up nice and early.
So the Flames with a 2-point lead, less than 5 to play in the opening term. Boomers with a chance. Mitchell, now to Wallace, to George, back to Wallace. Bounce pass to Davidson, great defense, although I think they fouled.
Good ball movement by the Boomers. That was a well-executed play. They knew who they were going to, how they were going to get there into Davidson, and really move the ball quickly. Davidson's been really handy coming off the bench. She plays about 17 minutes a game, and she's really a blue-collar worker. She goes hard after the rebounds. She sets good screens.
12 minutes played against Townsville for 2 points, and she's 2 from 2 on those free throws. Good contest early, 11 apiece. Heel. Flares it out wide. 3 coming.
That's the danger of Willoughby. We saw her previously drive it in, explosive drive. Now she's left wide open at the three-point line, and she's able to nail that shot. Tough to defend.
So impressive start to the Flames. Only 1 win this season against UC. Came within 10 points of Bendigo on Wednesday night. Nearly caused one of the upsets of the season. Here they are facing the defending champions and leading early.
Well, when you look at the games they've played 3 games against Bendigo already. So but they lost by 20, 17, and then 10. So you have to go, well, we are getting better.
Of course, a young side showing plenty of promise. The more games that they play is Heel gets herself a foul.
Shaila's really improved her game using the on-ball screen and her decision-making out of it. She baits the defense, checks it out, see if she's got a shot or if her teammate has a shot.
Averages 15 points a game, Shyla Hill. Against Bendigo on Wednesday night, 18 points. The week before in their win against UC had 21. So her last couple of games have been impressive. Here she is, almost turns it over on this occasion. Good enough to find Willoughby. Sets herself for 3 again. Bounces off the rim. Wallace with the rebound, wants to move it quickly because George has run down the other end, can't finish. Heel comes up with it.
George will be disappointed in that. It was a great outlet pass by Christy Wallace.
Clark.
Nice find for Froling, cutting, slicing to the basket.
Timeout to the Melbourne Boomers. The scores instead. Flames 16 points. Boomers 11.
Timeout called here. The Flames with a 5-point lead into the last minute of the opening term. This timeout is brought to you by CTM Sport. Consider CTM Sport for a competitive, innovative and customised travelling solution that puts your team on top. Visit ctmsport.com.au to learn more. So Laurie Shizik, it's a great performance so far from Sydney. Of course the question is going to be, can they do it against 4 quarters against a quality team? But what have you liked so far?
Well, Coach Shane Hill would be really happy with his spread of scorers. We've got Willoughby at 5, Froling at 4, Heel's got a couple, Shervin's got a couple. So they're spreading out the scoring. They're really executing well. They're pushing the ball when they have that opportunity, but they aren't backing down at all, considering the Boomers have a lot of height on them. So I think he'd be really happy going into this timeout. However, Chris Lucas, he would be wanting to address a few things. They've got to tighten up defensively. You know, they're one of the best defensive teams in the competition, averaging 76 points against them, 3rd in the competition. So they need to show that. They need to bring that defense because Sydney have the power, the potency to, you know, upset them.
Of course, as we mentioned, playing their first ever game at their brand new home venue at Quaycentre in Sydney Olympic Park. No doubt wanting to give their home fans something to cheer about.
And I like the extended pressure by Sydney, not just letting Melbourne walk it up the floor and call something. They're extending it up.
Here's Mitchell trying to get some points on the board. Let's head down to courtside to Renee Garlip.
Yeah, Chris was quite calm in that timeout. He said he wasn't too worried about the missed shots. He'd just like to see more movement on offense from the Boomers. Defensively, he just wanted to harp on about staying with their defensive pick and roll rules and stick with it.
Thanks, Renee. You can hear the atmosphere down there courtside. The Flames with a 5-point lead. Mitchell's a little bit ginger, getting to her feet.
It's interesting. Tiff Mitchell, you think of her as a penetrator. She's very explosive on her first steps. As we saw that last time, she can cross over, she can wheel and deal. But in fact, she shoots the 3-ball at 62%. She is right up there in the top 3-point shooting percentage. So somebody that's very hard to guard.
Just the 2 points so far for Tiff Mitchell. Shot from Wallace, just a little bit short. Here's Willoughby. Bounce pass inside to Rowe. Now to Heel, looking for an option, calls for Willoughby. Tough shot to execute.
Great defense by Tiff Mitchell. She really moved her feet, really moved them laterally to keep her player in front of her.
And goes down the other end and adds 2 more. She's warming up nicely. Less than 2 minutes to play here in the opening term. Heel to Clark. Now to Rowe. Back to Heel. Playing patiently. Kick out to Rowe and sinks a 3.
It's a great little move by Keely Frawling to drive that baseline and see her open teammate in the corner in Kiara Rowe. And she can nail that shot.
6-point advantage to the Flames. Wallace to Goodchild. Long range ball. Just bounces offline. Clark with the rebound. Bit of a fumble from Froling. So to Heel, still maintaining possession. Makes a charge and is fouled on the way through.
She persevered with that against Kayla George. She wasn't going to be intimidated. Kayla worked hard to try and move her feet, but Heel's just too quick, too crafty. Great decision by her to keep it in her hands and drive it hard at Kayla George.
Hard to believe she's only 21 years of age. Of course, debuted at 14. Shyla Heel is almost a veteran with this competition. Well executed. Great first quarter from the Flames.
It's Vanessa Panusas coming in just to give Shyla Heel an extended break over this time, and then the quarter time break, I assume.
George to Davidson. Working hard against Shervin, who did well. And now Froling. Some Flames holding up well on the defensive end.
Well, as I said, I was really impressed with their defense against Bendigo. I thought they did a great job of being accountable for their player, keeping their man in front, good rotations, and they made life really difficult for the Spirit. They took them out of their plays and made them uncomfortable, and that's what they need to continue to do.
Froling to the line. And they're doing everything right so far, the Sydney Flames. 10 points the advantage. Who saw this coming?
Who would have thought?
So the last 30 seconds of the opening term. Mitchell is patient. Now takes on Clark. Clark standing her ground. Mitchell goes again. And she's got a foul. Worked that well in the end.
Tiff Mitchell was never going to pass that ball. She had that glint in her eye that she was, and you know, end of a shot clock, end of a quarter, great person to have the ball in their hands. Create something either for herself or for a teammate, and she finds herself at the line.
Tiff Mitchell has missed more shots from the free throw line than the three-point range. He's offline on this occasion.
77% foul shooting. 62% from the three-point line is so good. And it's not like she just takes 1 or 2. She still takes a good amount.
Here's Heel. Good defense from George, but time evades the Boomers. And what an impressive opening term we have seen from the home side. The Sydney Flames, 25, leading the defending champions, the Melbourne Boomers, 15. Laurie Chiswick, what do you make of that opening term? It was impressive that from the Flames.
Well, I thought they were really disciplined in what they did with the Flames. They had a real mixture of running and pushing and trying to get some easy baskets. Then in the quarter court, they were very patient with what they did, and they've got a spread of scorers out there. Leading the way is Keely Frawling with 8 points, Willoughby with 5 points. Willoughby, we know, mixed up what she did. She was driving it in, yet could shoot the three-point shot. So they would be really happy. They're shooting the ball at 45% right now and have taken care of the ball. They have 0 turnovers. That's massive in the context of this game.
Let's head courtside to Renee Garland.
Hey guys, yeah, it's exactly what you guys said. Sydney are looking super comfortable out there today. They're doing a really good job of pushing Melbourne out of their stuff on offense. Sitting sideline, you can hear Chris Lucas kind of harping onto the players about moving the ball. And on the flip side, Sydney are looking good, moving the ball and getting lots of people involved. So we're in for a good one here.
Thank you, Renee. Certainly is a big opportunity for Sydney. Just the one win so far this season against UC, but they have been competitive in a number of matches. Of course, as we've mentioned, got within 10 points of Bendigo on Wednesday night. They trailed by just 2 points with 4 minutes to play before Bendigo just stood tall and got the job done. So they are matching it with the best teams in the competition. And here at quarter time, they have the advantage over the Boomers. As Laurie Chiswick, we take a look at some of the key stats. And what stands out to you?
Well, if you look at the shooting percentage of the Melbourne Boomers, that's what really stands out, 29%. I mean, they're used to shooting more in the, 50% range. So that's something. And they'll shoot the ball better. You always have to weather a storm sometimes. But if you look at that, points in the paint, what a surprise. 12 for Sydney and only 4 for the Melbourne Boomers. So, I mean, that's something for the Boomers I think they need to focus on. They've got the size in pretty well every position. They are taller than Sydney, so they need to look to take that ball inside, move it around the perimeter, get it inside. If Sydney collapses, then kick it back out to your shooters.
So do you think it is more, as the second term gets underway, is it Sydney are playing great or Melbourne not so playing that well?
I think it's a combination of both. I think Melbourne can play much better. And sometimes we say, a 9-day break is good. They'll be well rested. But in fact, sometimes that can go against you. They haven't played for a while. But Sydney just are playing really well as a team. And so, as Renee said, they're taking Melbourne out of their offensive structures.
See what they can manufacture here. Good child to Wallace. Murray back to Wallace. Is offline. Clark with a rebound. George applying the pressure on Heel. Pass inside to Shervin, works the baseline and converts.
Really good finish by Shervin. She recognized where her defense was and did that reverse layup.
Wallace with the solo effort and picks up a foul along the way.
Christy Wallace plays with such energy, such endeavor. She's fun to watch. She just runs the floor so hard and pushes and reads what the defense is doing. So in that situation, Shervin was back. She really wasn't down and ready to play defense, and Christy recognized that and just punched it in.
And she can certainly be a player that can lift a side with her competitiveness and her energy. Boomers certainly need a lift. They need someone to stand up.
Well, they need to come up with some good stops. I mean, to allow the Flames 25 points in a quarter, that theoretically you're looking at a 100-point game. So they need to tighten up, and you could see that last time, a really hard show by Kayla George on ball. So they need to stick to their defensive rules.
Clark to Shervin, now Willoughby, the top of the arc. That bounce pass is a little bit wayward.
Yeah, just not quite the right angle. If she'd just taken maybe one, two dribbles towards the baseline, she would have had a better angle to pass it in.
Flames by 9 points. Wallace to George. Now to Goodchild. Here's Mitchell. Can she get her side going? Gives it off instead. And that's a nice finish from Murray. Willoughby to Clark. Sends it backwards to Heel. To Froling. Can she manufacture? Perhaps not her best option or not her best pass there.
Well, 2 turnovers in a row after we were just singing their praises about not having any turnovers in that first quarter. They just need to take care of the ball. And that could be a product of Melbourne upping the defensive intensity as well. But here we see a great steal by Shervin, running the floor.
And Froling has picked up a foul. So great work from the Flames again.
Well, that was Shervin stepping out, so she wasn't content to wait at the three-point line to pick up her player. She was out and putting pressure on and just got a deflection and was able to steal that ball. And then Froling recognized that, streamed down the court, good pass, and finds herself at the line.
It's Shervin's first full professional contract this season. How have you seen her development?
Well, considering she was supposed to be a backup big, so she's done a good job to come in and have to step into a starting role, and probably a bigger role than she expected to be initially. And I think she's getting better and better as each week goes on.
And of course, the Sydney team are rebuilding. They're quite young, as we see Mitchell almost convert. What excites you the most, do you think, about this Sydney team and their future?
Well, what I like about what I'm seeing, I've talked about defensively, I think they've been good, but I think Shane's done a good job of recognizing the strengths of the players, and so the offensive structures that they're running suit them. And what I like is that they seem to be, you know, when a screen's set, they set it for each other. They're really willing to try and get each other open.
Here's Heel. Shot clock down to 3. Froling converts a big one.
Her teammates on the bench were helping her out there. You could hear them counting down, so she knew when she caught that ball, she just had to get her feet right and shoot it.
Up to 13 points now is Froling, as George works the baseline and is fouled on the way through.
Keely Froling, you know, when you look at her stats so far this season, averaging 17.4 points and 7.1 rebounds. She is an undersized big, and each week she comes up against taller opponents, bigger opponents, and she just works so hard and does such a great job.
So the Flames lead is now out to 12. George, can she inspire her side? Bounces out. Froling with the rebound. Clark inboard to Shervin, adds 2 more. We keep speaking about it, Laurie, but Melbourne Boomers are one of the best scoring teams, if not the best scoring team in the competition. They average the most points out of any team, and the Flames have kept them to 20.
Well, that was just too easy that time. Shervin got position on Kayla George. Kayla's got to fight to get around or not let her, and there's got to be pressure on the ball outside. That was just an easy look inside and a really strong finish by Shervin.
This timeout is brought to you by Cygnett. To stay connected with the latest WNBL news and social highlights, keep your favourite tech charged up at home or on the go with Cygnett's extensive range of charging products and digital accessories. A massive thank you to Cygnett for powering the WNBL with high-quality tech this season. Make sure you explore their range at cygnett.com. So, what are going to be the key messages, do you think, from the Melbourne Boomers camp?
Well, I think Chris would, you know, you can't get too frustrated. You have to sort of talk about, you know, trust our process. We know we can score points. Just relax a little bit. Let the game come to them. I feel right now they're sort of forcing some shots because they're feeling scoreboard pressure. Who would have thought they'd be down by 14, you know, halfway through the, not even halfway through the second quarter. So they just need to relax a little bit, look at their options, work the ball around a little bit more, shift the defense, make Sydney play some tough defense. You know, they've only got 4 assists right now, so that means they're probably not sharing the ball as much as they could or should.
And Tiff Mitchell, only the 5 points so far. How do you think she can get herself into the game?
Well, again, I think it's part of the team rotations, the team, you know, what if they run plays to her, but not force it. If they're playing good defense on her, then look and see what teammates open. You know, when you look at Sydney, they have 10 assists right now, and that's the way they're playing. They're playing much more as a team.
Not the turnover from the Boomers. Flames send it down the other end. Shervin to Willoughby. Out to Heel at the top of the key. Lovely bounce pass inside to Froling, who just can't convert. George with the rebound. Here's Mitchell. Back out to George. Now to Wallace. Murray sets her feet. Can't find the basket. Willoughby.
Well, if you look on that last shot, there was only one person, Mia Murray, who went in after the offensive rebounds. They have to give themselves some opportunities for second chance points.
A couple of misses from Willoughby. Still chasing after it. Great hustle. It will be a Melbourne ball, it looks like. A 14-point lead to the Flames. 5 minutes to play in this second term. Round 6 of the Cygnett WNBL. So fouls called against Heel.
And again, we can see Shyla just pressing up the court, just putting that extra little bit of pressure on Christy Wallace, bringing the ball up.
Mitchell. Inside to George, who finds Nelson Adota. And she adds 2, has cut into this lead.
Again, great slash to the basket. Shervin just lost vision of the ball and was a nice pass, nice finish.
Willoughby finds some space, bounces out. The Boomers clean it up. Wallace to Mitchell. Yes.
And that's where they can get their points, the Boomers, in some really quick transition baskets. They've got the players that can run the floor. You see Tiff Mitchell on the ground.
She doesn't look good. It's that right,
it's like a wrist.
Yeah. Should get some attention court side. Hope it's nothing too serious. It'd be a massive blow to the Boomers.
Well, considering that she's not only leading the team in scoring, she's leading the whole competition in scoring at 22 points a game. Let's just hope it's just a knock that she can work through.
Leads the competition in many statistics and points per game, 3-point percentage and minutes per game. She gets a lot more time as well. We can't forget that. Just take a look at the replay.
I'm not sure if she fell on it.
So Tiff Mitchell head to the bench. Appears to be in a fair bit of discomfort.
She does. You see there that Keely Froling is leading the way for both teams with 13 points, and there we see Mitchell has contributed 7 points, so they rely on her heavily in what she can bring offensively, but also defensively. She's a tough defender.
So 10 points the advantage to the Flames.
So the Boomers don't want to panic at all. I mean, there's a lot of game left. They just want to keep chipping away at this lead and, you know, see if they can get it around the 5 or 4 point mark going into halftime. And conversely, Sydney, they want to keep putting that scoreboard pressure on. We can see that Melbourne have come out in a bit of a zone.
Willoughby for 3. Can't convert. Flames might get it back here. Panousis. To Froling. Oh, look to pass it off, but they turned it over. Good hustle from the Boomers as George releases Wallace.
I think it's a good idea to, just in that, it wasn't really a timeout, but when Mitchell was injured, just to throw something different, just to throw a different defense so that Sydney have to think about it.
Good child to Nelson Adota. Makes a charge for it. And that's good execution.
When she came to the Boomers at the beginning of the season, she wouldn't have been comfortable doing that. And now you can see her growth, you can see her development and her confidence that she's able to attack other players now.
That's why so many players come to this league, isn't it, Laurie? To get that experience. It's great competition, you get great development. Nelson Adota is one of them, as meanwhile Clark for three. How about that? The Flames are on fire.
If you sit in a zone and leave me open, I'm going to shoot that ball.
Good child. Misses on that occasion. Panusis to Clark. Frolling out to Willoughby. She's been impressive today. Kicks it back out, now Frolling. Shot clock down to 5, Willoughby. And it's off Melbourne, so it'll be a Flames ball.
Watching both teams and their defense, if you look at Melbourne, whilst their hands are there, they're not active. I think they're that little bit too far off, whereas you watch Sydney, they're right up and in, active hands. I think Melbourne could do a little bit more of that.
Clark goes herself. It's off the glass. Melbourne with the rebound. Wallace charging down the other end. To Murray, now Goodchild. George. Gives it back to Goodchild. Murray. Inboard to Nelson Adota. And out of court, I think it is.
3 seconds in the key, I think it was, which is not called very often. I think I wasn't watching
the pickup
Adota, but I think she just was planted in there, really trying to demand the ball, and it was just moved a little bit too much on the perimeter before they saw her.
Perhaps a little bit rattled the Boomers at the moment. Margin out to 11. Less than 3 minutes to play here in the opening half. Willoughby. Munga Kahia.
Can see how Sydney are moving as players and a ball. They're really shifting the defense.
Willoughby. Almost. Nelson Adota with the rebound.
Great blocking out by Christy Wallace.
Murray for three. Yes, great shot.
They certainly needed that just to stem the flow, to keep them in touch with Sydney.
Can they get some flow happening? You feel like they just haven't been able to get any kind of momentum so far this game. Sydney's defense has been from the top shelf. Shot clock down to 4. Willoughby, Shervin off the rim. Can they get some late points? Nelson Adota, long range. Oh, just wobbles out. Oh, Willoughby. Pass it to Shervin. She wasn't ready for it. And now the steal. Wallace for an easy 2.
Great job, Christy Wallace, for not just letting that ball go out of bounds and really going after it, hunting it, and coming up with a steal and a layup.
It's a great fight back late in his second term. Got the margin back to 6 points. Just see a replay of this hustle from Wallace. And it's these little things, Laurie, that can actually inspire your side.
And that's exactly why Shane Heal would have called a timeout, to try and, you know, if there is momentum, which it certainly feels like it's going the Boomers' way right now, he wants to stem that. He wants to stop it straight away. You know, I think there's about a minute and a half to go, and you want to make sure that his team really plays this quarter out.
If you just joined us, Tiff Mitchell is off court at the moment, just nursing a right wrist injury. You can see her just in the frame there to the left. So she's got some strapping on it. Hopefully we'll see her again. Frolling up to 13 points for Sydney. And Murray with the 10 for Melbourne, leading their scorers so far. Let's get down courtside to Renee Garlett for an update.
Yeah, Yeah, Jess, it looks like Tiffany Mitchell's back out there. They've strapped her wrist up and she looks good to go. The Boomers have done a good job bouncing back after timeout a couple ago. Chris Lucas wanted to make an emphasis on shots will go down, stay with the system. He changed the defence up, and that's looked to get them a bit of momentum and get them back into the game.
Thanks, Danae. Certainly good news for Melbourne with Tiff Mitchell back out there. Certainly need her up and firing. Willoughby to heel. That one's off the rim. Here is Mitchell. Inboard to Nelson Ododa. She works her way to the basket. That's a tough shot, but she's picked up a foul.
It's good to see her having, again, after having that breakout game, to come in here today and to continue with her assertiveness and what she can bring inside. She's got the height. She's the tallest player on the court. So give it to her inside. Let her go to work.
A season high 17 points against Townsville when they last played 9 days ago, including 5 rebounds. For Nelson Ododa, WNBA rookie drafted by the Los Angeles Sparks.
69% free throw shooter. That's something she could definitely pick up on.
So margin back to 5. A better quarter from the Boomers, but the Flames still on top. Willoughby. Munga Kahia. Back to Willoughby. Has to kick it back out to Froling for 3. Can't get it to drop in. They do get the rebound though. Rowe.
Great second chance opportunity.
Munga Kahia flicks it out to Willoughby. Heel goes herself and adds 2.
There was a few players that could have taken that shot but chose to pass it on, so I'm glad Shyla got in and got a point for it.
Maybe perhaps a little too selfless. There's Mitchell for 3. Misses. Last play of the half. And it's been an impressive opening half from the home side. The Sydney Flames playing their first ever game at their brand new home at the Quaycentre. And they are giving the Melbourne Boomers a few questions to answer at half-time. The Flames 39 leading the Boomers 32. Laurie Chiswick, what did you make of that opening half?
Well, I think Shane Heal would have to be really happy with his charges. 39 points, keeping the Boomers to 32 points. But it was just the way they executed their offense, the poise that they've been playing with, the maturity that they've been playing with, and their decision-making has been really good. And no doubt the Boomers will talk about things at halftime. They're a very professional outfit. They've got a lot of experience on their team, and you know, they'll come back and really challenge the Flames.
Let's head courtside to Renee Garlick.
Hey guys. Mia, great first half from you personally. 4 or 5 shooting. I felt like end of shot clock, you kind of got them out of jail a little bit. What do you make of the first half?
No, we're not happy at all that the Flames got their tails up offensively. I think they're making good reads. Their second chance points, though, it's killing them us at the moment. We, you know, we stem the flow a little bit, but yeah, second chance points are killing us.
How are you looking to match their physicality, and what's the plan for the second half?
We just have to play through it, try and get to the foul line as much as we can, not worry about anything else. That's an external factor, so just try and play through the physicality a little bit and get to the foul line if you can.
Awesome. All the best for the second half.
So plenty of work to do for the Melbourne Boomers. They're trailing at half-time to the Sydney Flames. We'll be back shortly with all the second half action after this.
Nelson-Adota now works on Roof. Nice finish. Reset. George, Nelson-Adota versus McSpadden.
Reed, Samuelson has been hot from deep, and she continues that for Samuelson, who's been hot from this range. She has an open look, and she knocks it down all night long.
Rolling with the screen, driving on Bunton, reversing, it's good. Heel from the wing, on the low block. Working on Whittle Harmon.
Just a touch over 5 assists has been nice.
Jackson from the top. Hands it down low, working inside, little short. Scherf couldn't come up with a rebound, and Jackson takes advantage.
Griffin at the other end, in rhythm, knocks down the triple.
We didn't see a great offensive rebounding presence for the Lightning after that shot attempt.
Kelsey Griffin breaks the drought. Griffin goes to work on the inside, spinning and banking it off the glass.
Prepare your taste buds.
Hungry?
Famished.
For 6 delicious nights on 9.
Dare to replicate the snack.
Australia's best chefs. Head-to-head, recreating our most iconic snacks.
I think I stuffed this up.
Get it together. I know you've got this.
It looks like salt and pepper calamari.
New Snack Masters. Stream the latest episodes on 9 now.
You know they don't teach in PI schools how to get the money shot.
They're undercover.
What are you doing?
That is how you get the money shot.
Cracking cases.
Nothing says I'm stalking you like a hidden camera.
The old-fashioned way. Jason Priestley.
Are you nuts?
It's a rental.
Private Eyes. Stream complete seasons on 9 now.
Do not underestimate the power of a good blind. Take this exhausted couch. Now it stands before you. Magnifique. Even this cocktail of dead skin is gracefully waltzing. Da 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 da. DIY blinds. Change the ugly.
You ever get that feeling that one choice could change your whole life?
What if you chose passion?
And what is it that you want to do?
I'm going to be the next Billy Joel. Guy can dream, right?
What if you chose family?
You saved a man's life.
Your dad would be proud of you.
What if you chose love?
Can you believe we made him?
At least we did one thing right.
It's only natural to wonder what if.
Ordinary Joe. Stream every episode on 9 now.
I have a family that I have to get back to.
The wait
Gavin.
is over.
And I know that's something that you understand.
Welcome home.
We're being hunted.
More sinkholes are coming.
How deep
Let's go!
does the mystery go?
You are never going to believe what happened.
La Brea Season 2. Stream the latest episodes on 9 now.
Hi Hoopers, I'm Tess Madgen. I'm so excited to be offering virtual masterclasses this school holidays with She Hoops. Starting on the 9th of January at 5:30 p.m. every Monday night. In this 5-week series, we will be delivering a range of basketball skills. I will also take you through a number of mobility skills designed to keep your body active and engaged. And the best part is that it's free. Go to shehoops.com.au to register now and secure your spot.
They donated toxic land to a school. Someone put it there, deliberately.
You said this case was unwinnable.
Don't make this personal. It's already personal. Dad, what happened here? There's something you're not telling me.
Burden of Truth. Stream complete seasons on 9 Now.
Can everyone line up?
Make Brixmas memories on 9 Now.
Have you been good, boys?
Magical creations
Attack that Lego.
will blow your mind.
That's a really great hip one.
Who will be Brixmas champion?
Deck the halls with something, something.
Stream now on 9 Now.
You get me going.
You've seen them represent our country. You've seen them win wearing the green and gold.
You give me, you give me.
We have the world's best talent in our backyard.
Oh, excuse me, she makes it rain.
What she got in a bag of tricks. That's what she's got.
Watch them. Follow them. Who will come out on top? Cygnett WNBL starts November 2.
Have you ever asked someone for their autograph?
No. Many people. Oh, lots of people. Lauren Jackson.
Oh, probably Lauren Jackson when I was a young buck. I don't know.
It was always when I was younger. So I reckon Lauren Jackson was probably one, and now she's my teammate, so that's all good.
Yeah, and now she plays in the league. Lauren Jackson.
Danny Green, when he played for the San Antonio Spurs, Solomon, Las Vegas.
Yeah, I think when I was like 12. Elise Penaluna. Yeah. CJ Bruton.
I don't think I have.
Yeah, a bunch when I was younger. Oh, anybody? I went to telethon a few times as a kid, so there was a whole bunch of like just Australian stars around.
Lots of people. Yeah, when I was little. I feel like basketball players. That's an awful answer. Oh, the last one I can remember is Delta Goodrum.
I reckon out of half the league I've got their autograph somewhere in my box. There's a photo, I was going through my old laptop and there's a picture of me and Amy Rochi. There's a picture of me and Sarah Blitzer from about 5-6 years ago when Danny Ong played in Threlgan. And like I'm holding a poster, no shame, I've got all the signatures.
Factor, getting to do what your coach wants you to do as far as defensive structures and offensive structures. To me, they're growing, and they look very good. They looked good on Wednesday night against Bendigo, and so far they look very impressive against defending champions, Melbourne Boomers.
And of course, the big question is, can they do it for 4 quarters? Because a great side like Melbourne, you know, are going to keep coming and coming at you. For the Boomers to get back into this contest, what do you think they need to do?
Well, again, and we talked about it right at the beginning, I think they need to keep pushing the ball because Sydney played only 2 days ago. Their starters played, 37, 38 minutes. So sometimes it doesn't show until the 4th quarter, but their legs can then start fatiguing. So if I was Melbourne, I would keep pushing the ball. I'd probably go inside a little bit more. They have the same amount of points in the paint as Sydney do, yet there we go, right straight away.
And that is the start that Melbourne want to start his second half, as Wallace finds her way to the basket for 2.
Well, and they've got height advantage in every single position. Wallace is such a great point guard with her height, and if she's against Shiley Veal, post her up.
And Willoughby with a brilliant response. Wallace for 2. Willoughby says, I will trade you for 3.
Can't get a better response than that.
Everything the Boomers have thrown at the Flames so far, they have answered. Mitchell kicks it back out to Wallace. Now for George. Great defense. Flames ball. Heel. Mungaki here to Shervin. Heel. Kicks it back out for Willoughby. Not on this occasion. Nelson Adota with the rebound. Of course, Melbourne have won the last 7 games against Sydney. So it would be the end of a winning streak should the Flames get up tonight. Bounce pass inside to Mitchell, out to Nelson Adota. Now Wallace for a triple.
See, I really like that. They went inside. There was a little bit of a mismatch in height, but the defenders played well for Sydney, kicked it back out, made an extra pass, and then a wide open, easy shot for Wallace.
Sydney by 9 points at quarter time, by 7 at the half. It's back to 5. Froling trying to work her way past Wallace. Off the rim. So Melbourne, can they generate some momentum? Flames have been outstanding defensively all evening as Wallace tries for a 3. Willoughby cleans it up. Shervin. Mungaki here. To Heel, sharing it around, and they've turned it over. Good work from Nelson Adota.
Yeah, just to get her hand in there, just to get that deflection.
She has it at the top of the key. Gives it to Murray, back to Nelson Adota. What can she manufacture? A foul.
Great job, great drive by Nelson Adota. She just got Shervin, she was out of her stand, she was lifted up and then was able to take it under her and draw the foul on her. She was just out of position, Shervin.
You mentioned her free throw percentage earlier as maybe something to work on. 11 of 16 coming into today. Nails that one. Can't make it 2 from 2.
Melbourne as a team shoot the free throws at 77%, and you want to have at least 75 to 80% as a team.
Mitchell muscles her way to the basket. Just can't get it to drop in. Nelson Adota with the rebound. And she capitalizes.
Great second effort by Nelson Adota, just to persevere, get the rebound, go up strongly, and get those 2 points that Melbourne needed.
So 8 points to 3 to start the third. Margin back to 2 as Heel picks up a foul.
Hill did a good job there, just a little change of speed. So she slowed up a little bit, change of speed, went hard to the basket, caught the defense off, and finds herself at the foul line.
Up to 6 points tonight so far for Heel. Froling leading the way with 13 for Sydney.
That's the first foul shot that the Flames have missed. They were 7 out of 7 going into this shot.
Ooh, none from 2. So a chance for Melbourne here. Suddenly it's the Flames looking a little shaky. And that shot's offline. So 2 points the margin. It was 7 points at half-time to the Flames' advantage. They led by 9 at quarter time. They started strongly, but the Boomers are making a charge here in the third.
Melbourne Boomers are only shooting the 3 ball at 30%, 3 from 10. It might be an idea for Flames just to change things up if the Boomers are getting, comfortable, maybe to go into a bit of a zone once in a while, just to test the waters, make them think.
Good contest from Heel and Wallace. Neither taking a backward step. Get a look on the replay. Love seeing these two go toe-to-toe. we touched on it earlier. This Sydney side is a young side, and we've seen some growth from them, but Melbourne have made some personnel changes as well in the off-season, so they're also still getting used to a different looking roster of sorts.
Well, probably the most important is they've got a different coach. And Chris Lucas and Guy Malloy, while they do some things similarly, especially the defensive focus, offensively we see a different look, and what a great shot.
Good shot with the big three, and the Boomers have the lead for the first time tonight.
The other thing about the Melbourne Boomers is that we have to remember that they still have Opal's captain, Tess Madgen, still to come in. Now, I think she's still a few weeks off. She's started doing some individual workouts, but, you bring her into the lineup. That's just another whole dimension as far as the depth that you have and the versatility that you have. So, when I looked at some stats last year at this time, the Boomers were 4-2. They're 5-1 right now. They won the premiership last year, so they're tracking pretty well with under new coach Chris Lucas.
And they're making a charge here in the third, but it's Sydney with a chance through Munga Kahia. Adds another two, and they've restored their lead.
Great job, Munga Kahia just getting a little shot fake. Kayla George fell for it, jumped in the air. She was able to then finish a shot.
Here it is, the twist and turn.
That's when you hear coaches say, stay on your feet, stay on your feet.
So the intensity's lifting here at the Quaycentre at Sydney Olympic Park. Is there an upset to come?
That's what I was talking about, the active hands that the Flames have. They're not only just there, they're active, trying to get those deflections.
Heel to Munga Kahia. Back to heel. From outside the arc. Oh, great hustle. They kept it alive. Munga Kahia from downtown. Also offline, but it's a Flames ball.
Good second effort by the Sydney Flames.
Froling brings it in to Rowe, to Willoughby, back to heel. Kicks it out to Rowe. Misses. George with the rebound.
Good offense by the Flames. They're using a bit of a flex action.
Mitchell can't convert. Flames work it down the court. Froling, hasn't she been impressive today? But commentator's curse will get you. I think it was an offensive foul called.
13 points that Keely Froling has. She leads all scorers for both teams.
Boomers are pressing. You know they're going to keep coming at you and at you all night. Good job to Burrows. Murray trying to find some space. And she's been fouled.
Kayla George has been relatively quiet when it comes to scoring. She's got 2 points right now. She's got 8 rebounds, but Kayla in 5 games has scored or has recorded a double-double. So points and rebounds. That's amazing. Out of her 6 games, 5 of them have been double-doubles. Christy Wallace has had 2 double-doubles, one with points and assists and one with points and rebounds. But Kayla needs to get more involved at the offensive end. I'd like to see her make some deep catches closer to the basket. She's sort of out of ways, the edge of the key, and I think she needs to find her way inside a little bit more.
So a couple of lead changes here in this third term. 5 minutes to play. Boomers are ahead by 1. They trailed by 7 at halftime. Here's Heel to Froling. Gives it back to Heel. Bounce pass inside for Froling. Well executed.
Tough finish between 2 defenders there. Keely Froling, she just kept her eyes on the target, finished strongly.
Foul called. Last game's number 4, Charlotte Heel.
Foul called against Heel. So we're going neck to neck in this third quarter, Laurie Chiswick. Who do you think at the moment, if you were to pick a side right now, who do you think might get over the line?
Well, I still feel like the Boomers have a lot to, they haven't played to their best. And I think Sydney have, you know, they've done a good job. I'm not sure how, you know, I think they've sort of reached their ceiling as far as they've played very, very well. So it's a matter of whether they can keep making Melbourne make mistakes or feel that scoreboard pressure. But I think Melbourne have a lot of improvement to do.
And you certainly get the feeling that if the Boomers get a run on, get any kind of momentum, they're really hard to chase down. So the Flames just have to keep up that intensity. Froling out to heel.
Great defense by Tiff Mitchell.
Oh, no. And when she's given away the foul, she's certainly not happy about it.
No, I think she thought it should be a jump ball, that she got all ball. She certainly kept Shyla in front of her as Shyla was trying to shimmy and wheel and deal.
Tiff Mitchell, just the 9 points so far today. She's been in scintillating form. The Flames have done well to keep her relatively quiet. Clark, what can she manufacture? Great defense from Davidson. The Boomers will retain. Retain. I was going to say regain. Retain the ball. Clark to heel. Quick transfer of play. Good child to Mitchell. Almost. Just hasn't found her range tonight. Willoughby. Season opening. That one bounces.
A little bit of just back and forth without much reward for either team right now.
George. Swings it across to Goodchild. Season opening and makes the most of it.
Well, with Christy Wallace on 4 fouls, Goodchild has she's been really steady. Hard to come in at this stage of a close game when you haven't played a whole lot and to take over the reins.
So this timeout is brought to you by DIY Blinds. To fit out your home with Australian-made designer quality window furnishings at the best prices. Head to DIYblinds.com.au to order your free samples today. What do you think will be discussed in this break?
Well, I think both teams, as you mentioned, neither want to let the other get on any sort of run. They want to keep it tight. So this is where tactical things come in place. As a coach, you want to be aware of the scores, of the time, of fouls, and be ready to call timeouts at the drop of a hat, maybe make some changes. We'll see if either team come out and throw a zone maybe for a couple of possessions after this timeout, just to make the other team have to think a little bit. But now it becomes very tactical when it's this close at the end of the third.
Well, Renee Gullop was lurking around the huddles courtside. What have you got for us, Renee?
Yeah, credit to the Boomers. They've done a great job getting back in this game with Christy Wallace on 4 fouls. She's visibly frustrated on the bench, especially with her 4th. However, they're doing a great job to stay in it.
Absolutely. So the Boomers, 3-point advantage. We've got 2.5 to play here in the third. Flames will want to stay in touch. Get set for a massive last term. Here's Heel. Back to Willoughby. Shot clock down to 5. Heel runs towards the basket.
Tough Shyla Heel. The way she had to finish that, extend her arm out.
Mitchell inboard for George. To Murray. Great defense from Shervin to get a hand in there. Murray picks it up though to George. That pass was wayward, but works out to Mitchell. Hits the rim again. Clark. Willoughby. Froling to Heel. And it's a Boomers ball, so well done to George defending Froling.
She did a little bit of frustration by Keeley. I think it must have gone off her foot when she put it to the ground, but good defensive play phase there by the Melbourne Boomers.
Here's Mitchell, sets herself, and this time finds her range. That's a big shot in the context of this third term.
Absolutely it is, and they had 2 high screens there ready for her to use, and she was able to just stop and prop and score that basket.
So the Boomers are out to a 4-point lead. Now the Flames need to respond. Shervin to Heel. Froling, and that's a deflection off the hand of, might have been Davidson in there, so it's a Flames ball.
And that's what the Boomers, that's what I was talking about. They need some deflections. They need to be disruptive. They have to be proactive on defense, not reactive, and try and dictate a little bit more. Nice back cut by Shyla Heel. Great find by her teammate.
Wonderful play there. Froling to Heel. Great vision, great pass. And Melbourne have turned it over at the other end. So 40 seconds left to play in the third term. The Boomers by 2 points. Froling up to 15 points for the Flames, and Mitchell and Murray on 12 each for the Boomers.
This sort of game suits the Flames more of a grinded out game rather than an up and back free flow game. So they're in pretty good shape right now.
Willoughby, Froling, swings it across to Heel. Makes her move out to Froling. Can't find the finish. Here's Goodchild. Down to 15 seconds in this third term. George. Mitchell. Out to Goodchild from the corner. Just a little short. And that'll do us to the end of the third quarter. And we are set up for an excellent finish here in the final term. It is the Boomers 52 leading the Flames 50 at 3/4 time.
Not quite sure we would have predicted that, Jess, that it would be this close at this time. But we did say at the beginning, you know, the Flames are here. They want to win in their first game in their home venue. They haven't been, they've traveled a lot. The Boomers have come off 9 days. We look at the percentages here, and again, the Boomers aren't shooting the ball to the way that we know how, the capability that they do have. And the Flames, given their height disadvantage, are winning the rebound count 35 to 17 or 27,
which is incredibly impressive considering they have the worst defensive board percentage in the competition, and Melbourne are right up there with the best. So it's certainly a turnaround for them in that statistic.
Well, and I would just, I think the Boomers, given that they aren't shooting the perimeter shot so well, given that they've got a height advantage, go inside more. Get that ball inside, and even if it goes inside, the defense collapse, you kick it back out, and then your perimeter shooters repost up again and get it back in, or punch it in. But I think they need to, if they're not shooting the ball well, you've got to find different ways to score, and I just think they need to go inside more.
Let's head to courtside and check in with Renee Garlip.
Yeah, Shane was pretty calm in that half, pretty focused on what they need to work on. He wants more movement on offense. Feels like they're getting bogged down a little bit. Defensively, he said, for the most part, their containment initially is really good, but then they're breaking down in the latter part of the defense, helping off corners and kind of silly mistakes that they're getting hurt with at the end.
Thanks, Renee. Massive last quarter to come. Laurie Chiswick. In terms of, I find sometimes when it gets down to a really, massive moment of the game, sometimes it comes down to mindset in this last quarter because you're running on adrenaline. Sydney thinking here's a big opportunity to knock off Melbourne. Melbourne thinking this is, a really close game. And so sometimes it just actually comes down to who's got the mindset to take their chances when they get them, because we haven't, we've seen quite a few misses so far this game. Do you think that is the case? Well, what do you think fitness, and we've talked about how Melbourne are off a 9-day break, Flames played 2 nights ago. Do you think that, you know, the legs will come down to it?
Well, I think it might still, but what I do think is that sometimes when you have a really close game, it's experience that comes to the fore, and that's certainly Melbourne have that over Sydney. They've got some very experienced veterans out there, played in the competition a long time, and so making decisions in crunch time and having that confidence and poise goes a long ways with your experience.
Murray, and there is the D1.
There is an example of experience. 16 seasons in the WNBL. She is the glue of this team. When they need a basket, she comes up with it. She's got the poise.
And that is why you're an expert, Laurie Chiswick.
Yeah. Great answer, though, by Shervin to come back and you know, straight away a 2-point shot in the paint.
Offensive rebound is the call. You can see the Flames bench up and about for that one. So the Flames by 9 points at quarter time, by 7 at the half. Melbourne turned it around in that third term. Lead by 2 at 3/4 time. Currently a 3-point advantage.
It'll be interesting to see how long Wallace sits when the coaching staff, Christy Harrower and Chris Lucas, you know, pull the pin and put her on with her 4 fouls. Tell you what, she'd be itching to get on. It'd be hard to be sitting on the bench right now, as Renee mentioned in one of the timeouts, how she was frustrated to be sitting there.
So Willoughby has marched to the line. Great game from her. Hear the silence in the crowd for that one. On the edge of their seats.
I've been impressed with Willoughby and what she brings to the Sydney Flames lineup. She's good at both ends of the floor. She's got a good high basketball IQ. And she seems to fit in very well with Shane Hill's systems.
Here's Goodchild to Murray and now to Mitchell. Wants to get in on the action, but palms it off to Goodchild. Now Nelson, Adoda. Does she find the basket? Yes. Boomers are lifting. Flames need a response. Here's Panousis to Shervin. Almost hand in there from Nelson. Adoda. Panousis from long range. Frolling with the rebound to Clark. Back out to Panousis. Shot clock down to 7. Swings it across from the corner.
Well, that would have brought the house down.
Sydney's first ever game at their new home court in the Quaycentre at Sydney Olympic Park.
The Opals actually played at the Quaycentre when they played Japan in the middle of the year, and Shyla, Keely, and Kayla all played in the Opals at that stage.
So a couple are familiar with this court. Panousis to Willoughby. Frolling back out to Panousis. Bounce pass to Frolling was excellent, and Frolling with the finish. Superb from the Flames.
They've done that a few times where they just know that Keely's going hard to the basket on that roll, and to come up here, just got that pass between 2 defenders. Keely's great at scooping it up and finishing strongly. That's just what they needed. Here it is. She finds herself at the line with a chance to tie it up again at 57 all. Of course she doesn't, because it's commentator's curse.
And chance gone begging. We might have to turn our mics off, Laurie.
Yeah.
Just let the action unfold as George swings it across to Mitchell. Sees an opening. Nails the 2.
Again, just got Shyla healed. Just a little pump fake, got Shyla up off the ground and was able to finish that shot.
7 minutes left. 3-point advantage to the Boomers as Willoughby makes her charge off the glass. Can't convert. Shervin pleading her case to the referee.
Oh, Willoughby would be disappointed. She did a great job of leaving her defenders in the dust there, getting right by them, just couldn't quite finish. I give Sydney full credit. They're certainly not showing any signs of fatigue, and we see Christy Wallace back on the court, running the show for the Boomers.
Mitchell sets herself, bounces out of the basket. She'll get it back from George this time. Moves around the baseline. Gives it back to George.
5 seconds on the shot clock.
Here's a chance. And nails it. 5-point advantage now to the Boomers. They led by 2 at three-quarter time. The Flames led the entire contest up to that point. They want to get the crowd involved too. Just convert some big shots here. Whistle on play. And
Mitchell just tried to navigate that screen, and instead of going over it or under it, tried to push her way through it, got called for the foul. You know, at this stage of the game, with the closeness of this game, it's going to come down to who can still set good screens, who can still cut hard and not just spectate off the ball, who's putting the work rate in.
Willoughby almost. Nelson O'Dota fights for it. How will the umpire see this?
Smart play by Wallace, just to bounce the ball off her leg, her opponent's leg.
And you mentioned experience, little things like that go a long way, don't they?
Absolutely they do. Both teams want to make sure that they get a good shot every single time down the floor. They don't want to turn the ball over. They want to give themselves an opportunity.
Wallace to Murray. Nelson O'Dota to Mitchell. Gives it back to George. Inboard to Nelson O'Dota. Working Shervin. And it's going to be an offensive foul, it looks like.
It was a travel call. A travel or 3 in the key, I'm not sure. I think she got the ball initially. She spun to the basket. There was nothing there. She spun back, and I think she just lifted her pivot foot. That's Mitchell's 4th foul now. That's a crucial one. Wow, and the fact that they're already in the bonus situation with 5.5 minutes to go, that means every single time that the Boomers foul the Flames, they are going to the free throw line.
So Heel has marched to the line. Some big free throws coming up.
So if you're a Sydney Flames player, you now want to continue to attack Melbourne, to make them play, you know, let them show to the referees that they can play some defense, or are the refs going to call it? Keep attacking them.
1 from 2 for Heel. George to Mitchell. Five minutes left here in this 4th quarter.
Kiera Rose, 4th foul as well, so.
Here's Wallace, sets herself from the corner. Can't find the finish.
It was a good read by Christy Wallace off of that inbounds play. Just a little flare, lost her defender, had a wide open look, just wasn't able to nail it.
Boomers by 4 points. They've lost just once this season. Sydney have only won 1 game. Looking to cause an upset. They need to find some points here. Munga Kahia to Froling. She could just be the woman to do it.
Good defense by Kayla George. Kept her hands up straight.
Wallace down the other end for Mitchell, who makes a charge. Using all her strength and experience there.
Yeah, really good decision by Mitchell when she caught it. To not stop and let the defense settle. She caught it, just ripped and went to the basket, and the defense just wasn't in position. And that's Kiera Rowe's 5th foul, so she'll be making her way to the bench and looks a little sore in that last altercation.
Time is starting to become the enemy for Sydney. If Mitchell can convert here.
Neither team are shooting the free throws particularly well.
One from two makes the margin 5 points with less than 5 minutes to play. Munga Kahia to Shervin. Looking for Heel, goes to Willoughby instead.
You can see, look at Tiff Mitchell just riding Shyla Heel, not letting her get a look at a ball.
Another miss from Willoughby. Boomers down the other end. Wallace inboard to George. Kicks it out to Mitchell. Drives. Sends it back out to Wallace. And the Flames with the rebound. So here's a chance down the other end. Heel inboard to Froling. Trying to work Wallace. Sends it back out to Heel. Froling sets herself and buries it. Big shot.
She does not need much time to get that release off. She had her feet set. A quick pass from Shyla Heel, her teammate. And wow, she just got that up straight away in a much needed basket.
Up to 20 points now for Froling.
And 12 rebounds, I might add.
Been super impressive, and this is a Flames ball. And they're going to the free throw line. This is a big moment in the context of this game. Let's take a look at the replay.
They don't actually, when it's an offensive foul, which that one was, they don't actually go to the free throw line. So we can see here that the Flames get possession of the ball, but they don't go to the free throw line.
Willoughby to Shervin. To Heel.
Important that
Munga Kahia.
It's a shot she can take. She's known for her three-point shooting.
Mitchell out to George. She's done this before.
There's the experience coming to the fore. Trailing Kayla George. She likes that, a little pump.
And we've got a timeout. This timeout is brought to you by Aussie Hoops. The Aussie Hoops program has had its biggest year to date, with over 42,000 participants registering to a local Aussie Hoops centre nearby. Aussie Hoops is the perfect introduction to the world of basketball for kids aged 5 to 10 years. Whether your little one is a seasoned basketball fan or simply looking to get out there and give it a go, we have no doubt they'll have an absolute ball of a time. Register now at aussiehoops.basketball to kickstart your basketball journey.
One thing I'm noticing, Jess, when I just have a chance to look at some stats here, is both teams have really taken care of the ball. It's been a high-quality game when it comes to possession. Both have only 9 turnovers so far, and assist-wise, 16 for the Flames, 14 for Melbourne. So it's been while the scoreline isn't high, there's been some really good defensive phases, and it's been high-quality basketball.
So take a look at some of the top scorers. So Froling having a great game, 20 points. Heel up to 15. Mitchell and Murray 15 each. Heel 11. Mitchell and Murray 15 each for the Boomers.
We see, as we know, Kiara Rose fouled out, and also Nelson Ododa with that last foul, that last offensive foul, is also sitting now with 5.
So 3 minutes left. The Boomers by 5. Big 3 minutes to come, Laurie.
We talked about this before we went on air. Did we dare think that there might be overtime, Jess? It'd be amazing.
We can only dream. Munga Kahia. Shervin to Heel. Willoughby. What can she manufacture? Oh, that bounce pass is not a good one. Just a little bit of miscommunication there, I think.
Yeah, miscommunication. Their spacing wasn't great, and that's really important. When it gets down to crunch time, you've got to keep your spacing so that you can identify whether you can penetrate
Both Wallace and Munga Kahir have gone to ground.
That's where Christy Wallace is so important to have on at the end of a game. She's, you know, she takes care of the basketball. She doesn't, you know, she doesn't panic under pressure. I like how Tiana's up and in her, you know, with 2:44 to go, 5 points down. They need to be that. But Wallace handles the ball very well.
She was really good against Townsville. They had to work very hard for that victory 9 days ago. Wallace certainly provided the energy. She has it now, makes a drive.
Really good execution, that play phase by the Boomers. And you can see Kayla George there really talking to her charges, but they got the ball through hands. There was good player movement and a good opportunity for Wallace to penetrate.
Gets the first. Let's say courtside to Renee Garlett.
Yeah, that timeout with Shane Hill there. The focus was to take care of D-Trans, and offensively he wants to see some two-man game with Keely Falling, setting the picks and playing off that, and hopefully getting something to the ring to draw some fouls.
Here's Hill trying to do exactly that. Can't find the finish again, so it's just slipping away for the Flames. Boomers, 6-point advantage. Wallace. Back out to Davidson, and she converts for 2.
Good second effort by the Boomers there to come up with that basket by Davidson.
Hill, bounce pass to Frolling. Shot goes up, can't find the basket. You called it early, Laurie. Experience was going to be telling in this final quarter.
Well, experience, and I think those last couple of shots that the Sydney Flames have taken look like tired shots too. They just didn't have the momentum in the legs. And there is Kayla Francis. That is her shot. She is experienced. She wants to get her team over the line. She was so quiet in that first half and now is up to 10 points. There we go. She'll have another double-double.
Now, Sydney, it's your time to vote for the Flames.
Just a wonderful player and the right player for the right moment on so many occasions. She's converted a couple of triples in this final term. And after the Boomers led by 2 points at three-quarter time, they've now got an 11-point advantage.
And that's what I talked about at the beginning. Sometimes fatigue won't play a factor in the, you know, the first quarter, the first half, even the third quarter. But come the fourth quarter, if you can keep going at them, it's not only just fatiguing your legs, it's the mental fatigue as well. So all of a sudden your decision making, it's that little bit harder to set a screen. It's that little bit harder to decide what to do when you come off the screen. And the Boomers have taken advantage of that and have pushed the ball. As Renee said, Shane was talking about, you know, defensive transition, and that's what the Boomers needed to do in this fourth quarter, is keep running it at them.
And it's always an important facet of really good teams. When it's not going your way or you're not playing your best, you still find a way to win. And that's why the Boomers have been successful. Here's Hill.
Well, you have to think they've found a way to win without shooting the ball particularly well, like they have. Last game, they found a way to win, even though they had 29 turnovers, which was phenomenal.
How they won that, I'll never know.
No, so you're right. Good teams do find a way to win.
So Murray with 15 points for the Boomers. Has played her role today. Same with Mitchell. Wallace with 12. Some free throws as well. Converts that one.
Wallace is an 83% foul shooter for the season so far, so she'll add to that tally.
Heel from long range. Brilliant.
This sort of feels like same deja vu from against the Bendigo game when they were in it, and you know, the score line right now probably doesn't indicate really how close the game has been and how well the Flames have played.
So they got within 2 points of Bendigo on Wednesday night with 4 minutes to play. They were 2 points down against the Boomers here at three-quarter time. And it's currently at 10 points, which is what Bendigo won by on Wednesday night. So you're right, Laurie, it's almost a carbon copy. And it must be, you know, sometimes it can be frustrating for a young developing side to get so close and not get the wins, but you have to look at all the positives and how they've been in these games and they're contesting it with the best, and they are playing some really good patches, just not quite bringing it all together for the full 4 quarters.
Well, when you think about, they've got 6 losses right now. 3 of them have been against Bendigo, the very top side. Melbourne haven't played Bendigo yet, which is interesting. You know, that's just the nature of the fixture and how it works. So there's a long, you know, we're about a third of the way through the season right now, which is hard to believe it's going this quickly. But there's a lot of basketball left to play. And as we know, throughout a season, to win a championship, injuries play a part, or not, lack of injuries, and a little bit of luck your way too goes a long way. So it'll be interesting to see how the season keeps unfolding.
So Melbourne have turned it over.
I like how Sydney are still fighting. There's just over a minute to go. They forced that deflection. This is the first time they've played the Boomers, and it's a 3-game series. They play everybody 3 times. So, you know, you want to make sure that you're getting as close a margin as you can so that the next time you play them, that's in the back of their minds.
Heel as the shot clock gets down to 6. Froling can't find the basket. Shevin tries to keep it alive, but does go out of play. So the Flames are impressive. They shot out of the blocks and were in complete control early, led by 9 points at quarter time, 7 at half time. The Boomers have grinded away. And they've finished out strongly as Mitchell tries to get some late points. Clark with the rebound. Heel. That one's off the rim. Last play of the game.
Defense! Defense!
Mitchell will be content just to run down the clock here.
And that's another 10-point. Can you say it's a good loss? I mean, no honorable loss. Honorable loss, maybe great loss.
Yes, we use sometimes. So Melbourne has spoiled the party of the Sydney Flames playing their first ever game at the Quaycentre in Sydney Olympic Park. They run out winners 73-63. The Flames were gallant for majority of the game, but it was the Boomers' experience in the final quarter. They got the job done. They extend their winning streak to 5 in a row.
And give full credit to the Boomers. As we mentioned, they found a way to win. They weren't playing particularly well, but they stuck together. They didn't go away from things. The coaching staff, you know, gave them really clear directions, and eventually, you know, they came out with this victory. And as we said right at the beginning too, no game is an easy game. And even though Sydney are 7th on the ladder, you have to respect them and you have to come in ready to play, or they're going to upset a lot of teams. And you can see Keely Frawling here in Vision just speaking passionately to her team, probably about how, you know, yes, they're disappointed they lost, but they are improving and they are going to be a force to be reckoned with.
So Melbourne continue their winning streak against Sydney as well. They've now won the past 8 contests between these two sides. Sydney has not beaten Melbourne since October 2017. So the winning streak continues for Melbourne against Sydney. Let's head down courtside to Renee Garlip.
Hey guys, I'm here with clutch Kayla George, just doing Kayla things out there. You hit 2 massive threes to secure the win for your group. Bit of a slow start for you guys up until the half. What was the message at halftime?
I think, similar to our game last week against Townsville, I said, it's always great to build character and try and build that, but let's not, get ourselves in a massive hole every game. Let's try and, pick it up a little bit, but credit to Sydney, they came out with good energy and were hitting shots. And, we missed a few gimmies as well, but I think it's, it's great to get the win. Win's a win.
Absolutely. So you guys, that takes you to 6-2 now. How far off is Tess Madgen, and how excited are you to have her back in the lineup?
I think it's 7-1, but
7-1. Sorry, lucky you're here. Hey.
Yeah, no, it's all good. No, Madgie's been training a little bit in the last couple of weeks, so it's been really great to have her back on the floor. She's super vocal. She's such a natural leader, and we can't wait to have her back.
Awesome. Well, all the best for the rest of the season, Kayla.
Thanks.
Kayla George, another double-double for her this evening. 10 points, 15 rebounds, and a couple of clutch threes in that final quarter.
I think Renee was right there. They are 6-1. Kayla's a little bit ahead of herself.
I think they are too, but we'll let that one slide. So a wonderful performance from Melbourne. Sydney, though, when they started that game, they looked... They didn't turn the ball over, I think, in the first quarter or something like that. They were really making the most of their opportunities, and perhaps a little bit of fatigue setting in late. They played Bendigo on Wednesday night, and as we take a look at some of the key statistics from tonight, not the best shooting performances from either side. Rebounds evened up in the end there. Sydney had control of that for the majority of the game. And points in paint as well, just favouring Sydney. I mean, they were in the contest until, I guess, really late in that final term.
They were. I think it was sort of the 5-minute mark or so when Melbourne just seemed to get a couple of baskets in a row and some stops in a row that really put that league out. Then Kayla George came in. But in the end, the Melbourne Boomers, 44% field goals and 40 from the three-point line isn't that bad, considering at halftime they were 25% from the three-point line. So again, they did well to come back and to secure this win. We know they've got another game this weekend, but that's maybe what Kayla's thinking of ahead of time.
Yes, maybe getting ahead of herself, full of confidence, and why not? Let's take a look at some of the games to come. Tomorrow, Townsville and Perth tomorrow night, and then on Sunday, a doubleheader, UC Capitals against Southside and Adelaide against Melbourne. What game of those three are you most looking forward to?
Well, Perth haven't traveled across to Townsville yet, so that'll be a good one. Townsville are coming off that loss. Southside, I feel like we haven't, I don't know whether Jackson's playing or not, so that'll be interesting. UC Capitals might have an extra player now assigned Schwagmeyer, but Adelaide Melbourne's probably the one I'm looking forward to most. Adelaide, to me, are the one team that can challenge in those top four, and they had a close game, the first up. So I'm excited about that game. I'm excited about all the games, but that one I think will be very interesting.
So let's take a look at some of the highlights of this evening. And as we mentioned, Sydney were just on fire early. They looked full of confidence. They didn't look like they were fatigued at all. And some really great plays. Melbourne they stayed in touch relatively in the first half, but really made their move in the second half.
They did, and you'd have to say that Sydney certainly had the edge in the first half, and just the way they were playing and the way they were being disruptive. And yes, Melbourne didn't shoot the ball well, but you have to give credit to Sydney for that. As I mentioned throughout the call, I thought they were really good at being disruptive and getting their hands in there. But Christy Wallace, what a great player. We just saw her make a steal there, but Keely Frawling ended up the game with 20 points and 13 rebounds, a double-double. For the Melbourne Boomers, all their starters were in double figures, so it was a real all-round performance by each team. Each team had a score of spreaders, a spread of scorers, and both teams took care of the ball really well, and it was a hard-fought battle.
And I guess one of the positives as well for Melbourne, Tiff Mitchell, she averages 22 points a game, was held to 15 today, but they found other ways to score, which is always a positive.
That's exactly right. And we know Nelson Odota's going from strength to strength. Of course, we love Mia Murray. She comes in and she does her thing and brings her experience. And I think that happens, we talked about that fourth quarter. Experience plays a big part in that.
Well, Laurie Chiswick, thank you so much to you this evening. It's been great to work with you, to Renee Garlop courtside. And on behalf of the entire production team, my name is Jess Webster. Thanks so much for your company. Enjoy the rest of the Cygnett WNBL season.